Thank you for joining us. Today we are going to discuss the Philip and Henry case. We'll give a brief introduction about the organization, then discuss the problems, do an analysis, talk about alternatives, before discussing our chosen solution and implementation plan. The organization. Philip and Henry is a magician's agency that links clients with talent across North America. Philip and Henry's activities range from high-scale corporate events to children's birthday parties. It is the only major organization of its kind and has been wildly successful, but looks to prevent stagnation with a new marketing strategy. Problems. The major immediate problems for the company are the need to increase sales and interest and the lack of direction to achieve these goals. The more basic problems for the organization are the big fish in a small pond issue, with the company being in a very niche industry, and diminishing returns from the current marketing strategy with an over-reliance on AdWords to promote bookings. Next, Jill will take over qualitative and quantitative analysis.
Conducting our qualitative analysis, we've arranged a comparative SWOT analysis for the company. The company's strengths include their strong brand recognition and high-quality services, which have gained positive reviews from clients. Their opportunities include an interest in magic from youth and no other large-scale competitors. As the company maintains their quality and brand recognition, word-of-mouth marketing will continue to leverage the new demand within youth. Philip and Henry's also experiences the threat of indirect substitute products, as consumers may search for other forms of entertainment, such as animal shows, balloon artists, clowns, etc. However, as the company holds and maintains such high-quality standards, they can differentiate themselves from the substitute products. The company experiences weaknesses regarding the lack of focus in utilizing other forms of marketing, such as social media. The company has also failed to launch in the magic education business. As the interest of magic increases among youth, this provides the opportunity to focus on other forms of marketing to reach more clients. With the demand, Philip and Henry could implement magic training programs within recreational activities for youth, such as summer camps, to approach magic education business in a new light. With the threat of substitute products, it is important for the company to continue creating brand awareness. Reaching a larger audience through new and improved media channels can create more awareness for the company against the other substitute products. So next, we conducted a quantitative analysis in which we evaluate numerous values to further understand the company's performance in 2014. So in 2014, the company generated a total of 3,000 sales. 80% of the company's revenue was generated from performing at birthday parties, and these performances are charged $289 each. The other 20% of revenue is generated from bookings with corporate clients. The price of these performances range from $3,500 to $7,500. Meanwhile, competitor prices range from $175 to $300 per performance. Looking at the breakdown for children's parties, we estimated that they had about 2,961 sales in 2014. With their standard price, this generated an estimated revenue of about $856,000. We compare this value to the revenues generated from the bookings with corporations. We estimate that there were about 39 sales in 2014 from corporate clients. Being charged the average price of $5,500, this generated an estimated revenue of about $215,000. These values give us a total estimated revenue of about $1.1 million from Philip and Henry. Although these values are healthy, after paying off expenses, the company only received anywhere from 10 to 80% from these sales to contribute to the company's gross profit. We also analyzed that 75% of the company's bookings are generated from the use of Google AdWords. Therefore, we calculated that in 2014, about 2,250 sales were generated from AdWords. Therefore, these values prove that a large amount of the company's business is from performances at birthday parties. The focus in online advertisement, like the use of AdWords, is clearly beneficial to the company, as it has brought in majority of the company's business in 2014. And now we have two graphs showing our previous calculations from the quantitative analysis, and these graphs represent sales versus revenue contribution for the company. And now for the budget. So Philip and Henry have conducted business the use of a marketing communications budget of $30,000. A marketing tactic that the company has been utilizing is the use of Google AdWords, which costs the company $25,000 per month. The remaining $5,000 in their budget is spent on outbound telesales each month. To utilize their marketing budget in the most cost-effective and efficient ways, Philip and Henry can review the current structure of their budget to ensure they're implementing effective decision making. The current expense of AdWords is creating a great return for Philip and Henry. Hence, the company should refocus the remaining budget on other effective online marketing strategies. Now, Andrea is going to discuss the alternatives.
So we have created 3 alternatives for Philip and Henry, which includes having an online focus, directly mailing potential customers, and to create a Philip and Henry magic shop. The online focus will put marketing efforts towards expanding the use of AdWords to include tail-end techniques, as well as having a social media presence to advertise their services. The direct mail alternative would focus on sending information via email to relevant markets such as birthday parties. And the final alternative entails opening an online magic store for Philip and Henry that will not only be a new source for revenue, but will also create a spark for interest in the magic show industry. This online store will also allow the company to market other segments of Philip and Henry. So keeping these alternatives in mind, we have determined that the criteria for the successful implementation of one of the alternatives should be that it attracts more customers, appeals to their primary market of entertaining children while still pleasing the parents, is cost effective, and that the alternative will appeal to the corporate market. So these criterions are ranked from most important to least, with attracting more customers being the most important criterion. The way they are ranked is based on how much profitability they would actually bring into Philip and Henry. So through the chart presented on the slide, we could see that having an online focus is the alternative that appeals best to the criteria, as it has the highest overall ranking. So for the first criteria, we said that having an online focus would attract the most customers, as it has already been proven to be very successful for this company, where 75% of their bookings came from AdWord. For the second criteria, we said that direct mail would appeal best to the primary market, as Philip and Henry would be specifically segmenting the market to those who are interested in having a magic show. So this could include things such as a child's birthday party. For the third criteria, having an online focus would be most cost effective, as we have already invested much of the budget into marketing online, as well as already proven to be very effective in terms of making the company more profitable. And then for the final criteria, having an online focus would appeal most to the corporate market, as it eases any complications for companies to find an entertainment service. So next we will talk about the recommendations.
After reviewing the criteria, it is evident that the best recommendation is an online focus. Through online focus, Henry and Philip would implement social media marketing, post more frequently on their platforms, and implement the use of hashtags, all of which would make excellent tools to attract customers, which in turn could potentially generate sales and revenue. This would solve both immediate problems of wanting to create interest and increasing sales. This recommendation would also solve the basic problem of relying too heavily on AdWords. Although AdWords were highly effective in the past, they are less effective now, so moving forward, Philip and Henry need to look at new ways to solve their problems. It is important that Philip and Henry focus on implementing social media marketing and having more of an online presence, as it is a free way for them to gain exposure, which again can solve their primary problems. Philip and Henry's primary market is children and parents. Through an online focus, they can target this market by posting content that attracts parents and children. Although direct mail would be an effective way to appeal to their primary market, it still isn't as effective at meeting some of their other criteria, as well as their legal complications that make it hard to implement. The magic store could potentially appeal to the primary market, but it would get tricky because they would have to select the physical location, which limits how many people they can reach, whereas with an online focus, it does not. It is important to note that unlike the other two alternatives, there is no financial risk with online focus. With direct mail, it will cost money to send flyers to people, and the more people they want to reach, the more it will cost. On top of that, there is no guarantee that the flyers would do well enough to outweigh the costs. The Magic Store is the least cost-effective as it is a very high-risk, low-reward alternative, meaning that the risk to cost the building and the store is extremely high, while there is no guarantee on whether the store would generate enough interest or sales to outweigh the cost of actually building it. With an online focus, the only thing that they really have to contribute is time. Although this alternative does not guarantee success, it is the best in terms of meeting their criteria and the risk to reward ratio. Next, we'll move on to the implementation.
This is our implementation plan that we propose to the company. There are 5 key focus areas to hit when talking about our implementation plan. So first is to improve. We want to improve the social media presence and the tactics that employees use when using social media, and to focus on using Facebook. Next would be to expand. We want to use tail-end marketing techniques with AdWords to include less niche related words, such as birthday or show instead of magic or magician. Next, you want to be consistent. So you want to post on Facebook at least once a week and other social media platforms, and just make sure to be consistent with posting. Next, to be encouraged. So you want to encourage customers to give feedback through using hashtags, and you could also use these hashtags for promotion. So next would be promotion. The promotion would be to have sign-in sheets at parties where you collect email addresses and social media accounts so that possible promotions and discounts could be mailed or emailed to possible people who want to go to one of the parties. And then next is our short-term action plan. So the short-term action plan would be within the first year of doing the implementation plan. So this would involve changing and adding the long tail keywords such as birthday or show rather than magic or magician. Next would be Facebook advertising. So this would have a focus on specifically looking into Facebook advertisements. We find that a lot of parents are the ones who are on Facebook, and we want to target parents as our target market because they're the ones who are buying the parties for their kids. And finally, we would use hashtags as a promotion tool to create awareness for the company. Then finally, we have our long-term action plan. So this would be after the 1 year. So for the long-term action plan, you want to remain consistent with your social media presence and stay up to date, and also be adaptable in the market. You want to be able to change. And this is the reason that you need the hashtags that will give feedback to the company, so you are able to change throughout the times. So that is our video presentation, and thank you for listening.